Stellar students. Welcome to week 7 of 9. So 2 more after this week. And yeah, we've still got plenty of content to get through. So hopefully you were able to attend today's recording with Kate Toon. It was awesome. Either way, it is now available in the portal, and that is all around SEO. So not only does she talk to us about SEO for your website, but also the concept of offering SEO related services to your clients. It's an awesome session, so make sure you check it out. Thank you to those of you who attended and provided some questions and insights and put up with us looking at their sites and stuff like that. So it was very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I took quite a few notes myself. So it's a really good session. So tonight, I just wanted to touch base on this week's topic and see if you've got any questions. So this week is all about pitching and promotions, and then of course you've got the bonus content there around just your website. So previous rounds we didn't delve too much into how to build a website or anything like that, but I've added a bit more content for this round and future rounds so that there's information there around your website, what sort of platforms you can be putting your website up on, around setting up your social media pages, some links for that, and also some tips around gathering testimonials and making sure that you're using your testimonials. So just quickly on the testimonials bit, some of you will have seen I've emailed you when you've given great feedback about the course and just said, hey, can I use that as a testimonial? And every time so far I've had a resounding yes, of course, no worries, because people, when they give you genuine feedback and it's positive, they don't mind you sharing it. Obviously if it's negative, one, they don't want to share it, neither do you, so that's not going to be an issue. But definitely ask. If people say something nice, I always ask for feedback, and then if they do take the time to say something nice, say, hey, can I quote you on that? Can I use part of that for a testimonial? And it will really help build your authority in your area of expertise and build that know, like, and trust factor with your audience. So, and don't be afraid to do that. People are happy to help, and it's nice. I've had people go, can I use that as a testimonial? And I'm just like, yeah, I don't have to do anything extra, but I've helped you out. Sweet, use it. Now, around pitching. So in the pitching section, there's a couple of resources there, mainly provided by Monique Eddy and Monique Brugman, sorry, her name's changed. And she is really great. She's a copywriter, and she's worked with me in Virtually Yours. She was my first VA. She's worked with me for many, many years, helping me with my content, but also helping manage the job lead process, which has been, managed in various forms across the last however many years, like 16 years. So sometimes in the past, we used to have applicants come directly to us, and we would have to vet them a little bit before sending them on, and so on. So she got a really clear insight there into how people were responding to our job leads. And of course, when you're responding to a job lead, you're putting a pitch forward. So someone has submitted a request for support through the website, which is the same as someone, submitting one to your website or asking for help online or talking to a networking event. And in return, you've responded with how you can help them and, answering any questions that they had. We had a lot of job leads come in that were disastrous, stuff like, oh, yeah, I can totally do that. I'd love to work with you. Call me. And really, really short, no information kind of thing. So we've put together an ebook that you will have access to, which we normally sell. And also Mon ran a webinar around how to communicate well with your copy when communicating with your clients. So have a look at that. Now, just in regards to that, the main things to remember is that at all times, it is actually about the client and how you can ease their pain. So when you're talking about the skills you have or the solution you provide, it's really preferable that you always word it as from the perspective of how that benefits them. So even when you're providing examples of how something could work, you can use them as an example. So when I'm networking face to face, I always ask people about their businesses before I talk about mine. Well, I try really hard to, because some people just won't. But I'll ask them what they do, and how they got to where they are now, because sometimes their backstory gives you even more insight into how they roll. And then when they ask what I do, I can say, okay, so, in your landscaping business, you might find that you get to the end of the day and you're falling behind on your invoices, or you haven't got the time or energy to load before and after photos to your social media or to your website, and start pulling examples that are relevant to them as a landscape gardener. If they were, for example, a bookkeeper, the examples you provide would be different. You wouldn't be worrying them about invoicing necessarily, but they may be terrible with social media, or they may be struggling with their website, or with formatting documents, with processes, policies, things like that. So it depends, but you cater it to them based on what you understand of them. Now, a job lead came through Virtually Yours today, which was really frustrating for members because it provided pretty much no information about who the job lead was from. So people couldn't go and do that research first and then put their pitch forward. And so that actually really makes people feel uncomfortable and blind. And I actually was really glad to see that the VAs were like, oh, this is not helpful. I don't like this, because it shows that they do want to know who it is that they're responding to. And, that way they can cater their response accordingly, and also check to see if they want to work with that person. So try to have a look at, when you're communicating with people, whether it's verbally or through an email or through your website, check to see how many times you use the word I or we, and see if you can flip it a bit and talk about them more. So using the words you, or your business, or their business name, or their actual name, and start turning your sentences around so that it's about them and how you can ease their pain, not about you and how great you are. Okay, because they need to know. You can talk to me about how great you are till the cows come home, but I might not connect how that can actually help me unless you tell me. So people might be like, "Yay for you! You're really brilliant. That's awesome. What does that mean for me?" Okay, so the what does that mean for me is the most important element. Focus on that. Okay. And yeah, it's easier because you try to focus on them first. Do a bit of homework about them first, or have that conversation about them first, so you start to feel comfortable before you start talking about your own business. And I find talking about Virtually Yours, well, I get really excited when I start talking about Virtually Yours, but I find it heaps easier if I know how to relate it back to them, because then it doesn't feel like a sales pitch. It feels like I'm just trying to help them understand what it is that we offer. The other part, now hit me up with any questions if you've got some. I know there's a couple of people here, but I haven't seen any comments, so definitely let me know if you're in the room. The next section is the promotion. Now, there is a project for you to do, and it can be one that you actually implement, or it could be a hypothetical. Ideally, one that you implement. And it can be a cost-free promotion, or it can be one with a budget. So with that, we're looking at putting together a plan around a promotion to your ideal client. I'm just going to have a look at Narelle's comment. I get so uncomfortable when people only bang on about themselves. Usually if they have to tell you how good they are, they're not. I love that. That's so true. Yes, because if you are good and if you're confident in what you do, you actually don't feel a need to keep going on about it. You might be excited about, when I talk about Virtually Yours, they can see that my energy is heightened, but I want to talk more about what they do. And I just find, especially with speed dating, speed networking, when you've got to do your spiel again and again and again, I always find that I just ask them to go first every time. And usually we run out of time and I don't talk about myself anyway, which is probably terrible networking. But yeah, the whole crapping on about yourself all the time is really, it's not fun for you, but it's also not fun for them. So when you are encouraging other people to talk about themselves so that you can learn about them, make sure you are listening, because when you respond, you need to be validating back, reiterating back to them what it is that you understand that they're saying. So then they don't have to keep going on and on and on because you've clarified that you understand. Some people will just keep going because they just don't know if you understand or not. And they aren't sure yet what their pitch is, for example. So, ask them genuinely if you don't understand what it is they offer. I mean, I've had people before who say, I'm a business consultant. And I'll say, in what area? And they'll go, small business management. And I'll go, what does that mean? So I'll just keep asking until, it makes sense to me, because unless I find them really annoying, I want to know what it is they actually do. And a lot of people will just use random, unhelpful descriptions that just don't tell you what they do. And if they would just turn around and say, okay, so Rosie, this is what I could do for your business, and then I go, oh, okay, cool, now I get it. Now, sharing information is so different, Rosie. Listening to you is totally inspiring. You motivate, not brag. Oh, thanks, babe. Yeah, so, that's the thing. You want to be exciting people about what it is you do. And you do that by relating it back to something that they understand. Okay, so with the promotion, you've got to be looking at what I'd like to see from you is just a write-up that says who the promotion is aimed at. So this is your ideal client. So let's get specific. Remembering that the broader your target market, generally speaking, the more expensive your promotion is going to be. So if you were going to do a Facebook ad, for example, or Instagram ad or LinkedIn ad or Google AdWords, or even promotion within your local area, if it's not targeted, you've got to kind of spread it out everywhere. It's going to cost you a lot more. So try to be really specific and targeted, and you can measure your return on investment later. So who is it aimed at? Where are you going to put it? So where is your ideal client hanging out? So for me, it's Facebook. Usually that's where I spend most of my marketing dollars. You might find that depending on who you're targeting, LinkedIn is better for you, or maybe it's a particular publication, maybe it's sponsoring a particular, like a sporting group nearby. Like, what is it that will actually be seen by your ideal client? And when? So advertising it, 2 a.m. for me is not ideal because my audience is asleep, because my target market is here in Australia. Whereas if I was targeting people in the UK, for example, and remember this, I'm time zone dyslexic, I've got no idea, they may be awake then. I have no idea. So I would get someone to do a time conversion for me and make sure my advertising is being shown at the prime times when they're looking at it. And you can, if depending on what you're using as your platform, so if it is online, that's where you're going to be. If it's on radio, TV, or online, good luck finding the budget for radio or TV. You can use your insights on your website to see when people are most reactive to your posts and comments and stuff like that, and then start, promoting accordingly. So thinking about when you're going to be promoting, and it might not even just be the time of day, it could be the time of year. It could be an end of year thing, it could be an end of financial year, it could be leading up to Christmas, depending on what it is that you're offering. Okay, and then what would it say? What sort of language are you going to be using? What sort of wording does your ideal client, respond to? So think of those pain points. You don't have to have it worded beautifully, but just think about, okay, what would I be asking them to sort of trigger them to go, oh, this is for me. What action will it then ask them to take? So you're going to be asking them to call you. Are you going to be asking them to go to your website to download an opt-in? Are you going to ask them to fill out a survey? What is it that you're going to do? So I've done promotions before where I've had people fill out a survey for me in return for a gift. And the gift might be an ebook. I've given away copies of my full business book ebooks to gather data from surveys. So I've given away copies of Vavavoom as an ebook, and I've given away copies of Reaching for the Star as an ebook, and The Outsourcing Secret as an ebook. And each of them were targeted to specific audiences where I wanted them to answer my questions. So the people that would want to read that, I can ask them questions so that I can gather more data to help me move forward. And then as a thank you, I give them something of value that actually doesn't cost me anything. So what action do you want them to take? Is it to book a consultation? Is it to attend a webinar? Okay. And then think about, and this isn't necessarily in sequence, this is just the questions that I've asked you. What is the purpose of your promotion? Is it, I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to make more money, but is it particularly, specifically to sell something straight up? Is it to build your profile, build awareness, educate, add people to your mailing list, your CRM? What's the purpose? So you might find that your end goal has no immediate financial return on investment, but it's around building awareness, building your profile, that know, like, trust factor, or getting people onto your database. Have an idea of what it is that you're going to be able to measure as your definition of success. And then think about how you're going to measure that success. So is it by the number of people added to your CRM? Is it by the number of dollars that comes in? Is it by the number of people who, my dog is licking, stop it. Is it the number of people who attend your webinar? What is it that you're going to be measuring it? Is it the number of people who download your opt-in? And then, look at the cost. Is there a cost associated? Are you going to do it as a free thing? Not paying any kind of sponsorship price or advertising price, or are you going to invest some money in it? Now, I've found over the years that boosting posts has really, really been a bad choice for me in terms of return on investment. They've never worked very well. So if you are going to look at investing some money in it, and for this could, as I said, it can be hypothetical to start off with, and maybe you'll implement it down the track, who knows? But have a think about how much you could invest on it, and you're, looking at the basic, have a look at what sort of returns on investment people get for the type of marketing that you have chosen to do, and do some sums on what you're ideally going to get back in return. And then if you do implement it, compare your actual return to what you are aiming for. And then this is what we do constantly. We tweak, so we measure, we tweak, and we try it again and keep measuring and working things out. Okay, so as I said, you don't have to implement the promotion, but it will really help you start to think about how to communicate with your audience to get them to start taking steps, directives that you want them to take. Okay, any questions? Just give you a second. There's always a little bit of a delay with Facebook Live. So when I do that and questions, it's never going to come straight away. Yay! Some things to remember. So while I'm waiting to see if there's any, if there's no questions, just write no questions. That way I know that we're on the same link. So with your promotions, have a really good idea of if it is to build your CRM, if it is to build your awareness, make sure that you are looking at a big picture and the little piece that this is within that big picture. So when you're creating this, I don't expect you to have the whole big picture, but it's great if you can think about, say you put this strategy in place and think about the potential knock-on effect. So if it is to build your CRM, for example, what will that mean for you? How will you use that data? Okay, cool. Thanks, Narelle and Lee. I really appreciate that. So thinking about how you're going to use that. So when we're talking about what's the purpose, it's to build your lead list. Why? How are you going to use that? What are you going to use it with? Thanks, Kelly, are you going to have a list, a CRM there that you never contact? So think about what's actually going to work moving forward, because one of the things with business is that it never stops. That sort of cycle never stops. It's always the and then what, and then what, and then what, which is, I know, really frustrating and painful, but just take it one step at a time when you're taking actions. But when you're thinking, think about those things, think about the big picture. You can write notes, do a mind map, just lay things out. I've got so many notes in my notebooks that I know I'll come back to later and go, that was a good idea, I should do that. And often it's just a case of, you know how they say just brain dump, and there's no such thing as a bad idea, and you just get it out of your head to get that clarity moving forward. That's the sort of thing that I want to see with this, where you look at that promotion, you create it, and you do a little bit of a brain dump around, okay, so what does that mean for me? So what do I need to do to make it so that that actually, you know, that profile building or that list building that I've just achieved actually turns into a benefit, a financial benefit to my business? You know, what's going to happen with that? So yeah, with any kind of promotion, it's never a start-stop kind of thing where it just ends here. It always has that ongoing effect. So for now, it's theoretical, and then if it looks good and it seems like it would be a really great idea, you can start putting those steps into place. And this plan, so, you know, what would it say? Where will it go? Blah, 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 blah. What action will it take? Each of them, frustratingly enough, will have their own task associated with it. So, for example, when you might need to have a copywriter help you with some of the content, you might need to have someone help you create some graphics, or maybe you'll be doing it yourself. You'll need to have landing pages, and don't freak out about the term landing pages. It's basically just a page on your website that doesn't have all your menu and all that other distractions on it. It's just that particular topic. So it's an opt-in form, or you know, a sales page or something like that, and you just don't have all the options to click away from it. That's all a landing page is. So I know for years I was like, what the hell's a landing? Like, why is it different? And that's all it is. So you might need to have a landing page, so a sign up page, and then you need a thank you page, and then you need a thank you email, and then you need a follow-up email. So, you know, there's always going to be processes. If they're booking in for something, you need to have a calendar link there. You need to be able to get them to sign up and confirm, and, you know, you need to work out whether it's going to be a phone call or a Zoom call, or I'm turning you off the whole thing. But no, that's why we're starting this off with the theoretical. I actually love all that stuff, and hopefully you do too, as, you know, someone who loves business and administration. Knowing that you've got this end goal in mind to launch this cool offer or promotion or whatever it is, and you've got this checklist of things that you need to work through is awesome. So if you create that promotional mock-up and you send it through to me, if there's anything that you're not sure about what you would need to do for the next steps and you want to take them, then you just let me know, and I'll be like, okay, well, these are the things that you need to have in place to actually create this. So just, yeah, hit me up. All right, so just to reiterate, make sure that if you did not watch the Kate Toon live today, and even if you did, I'm going to be watching it again because I'm taking notes from her feedback on my site. So she gave feedback about my site and my Google rankings, and also for one of my VAs. So she's given specific that you can see actionable feedback, which is awesome. Make sure you watch that. It's in the portal and it is here in the Facebook group. And then have a look at the content. I haven't got a specific video for you to watch this week where I'm introducing this. I'm doing it now, but there are other videos in there, like the one that Monique's webinar and stuff. I wanted to just avoid you having to watch too many things, but there's some really good resources in there. And of course, download the ebook around responding to job leads. I can tell when people have read that book versus not reading that book when they respond to job leads on the Virtually Yours network. I can tell. So I'm assuming there's no more questions. If there are, I will keep an eye out anyway, as usual, on the comments after I finish this live and answer anything that you've got. But thank you for rocking up tonight, and for sending through any of the work that you guys have sent through so far. I love your emails. It's awesome. And yeah, good luck with this week's challenge assignment. I'll speak to you soon. See ya.